talking about the paranormal as we do every Saturday night. We have joining us in the science advisor, Matt Moniz, is back after being under the weather last week, and John Brightman's here as well, and our paranormal news correspondent, Knapp, is here in the studio. So we're going to have all kinds of fun here on episode 984 of Spooky Southcoast, and we're going to start it off right now. Oh, dude, we totally messed it up. We moved the spooky theme. We cut over the spooky theme. That's all right. What do we always say, Matt? What are we going to do? We'll fix it in post. That's what we do. All right, well, welcome to Spooky Southcoast. Tim Weisberg here, along with the silent assassin, Matt Costa, science advisor, Matt Moniz. And we have a couple guests in the studio as well. We have John Brightman here, and we have as well, and we're going to get into all kinds of paranormal topics, but we're going to actually start things off by talking to our good friend Jeff Belanger, who'll be joining us in just a moment to let us know about the upcoming fundraiser. What's up? Okay. You can just, it's all right. It's cool. I already screwed up the show way more than anything else could tonight. This one's all on me. I'm like, let's make some production stuff a half an hour before the show is supposed to start. And oh, by the way, I don't really know what I'm doing. So me saying, hey, let's do some production stuff really meant, Matt, come and save my ass when I screw something up. And I apparently did, because we cut out the theme song. And the good thing is it's still in there somewhere, though, I think, if we just find a new number for it. So this can be fixed. We can fix it, and we will. But joining us on the line right now, we have the one, the only Jeff Belanger. And I think, Jeff, I don't think you really need an introduction, but I think everybody out there knows by now you are the guy when it comes to all different kinds of weird topics. But one thing I don't think we've ever talked to you about is zombies.
And it's good to be back on Spooky Southcoast.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
I think the last time you were on the show, it was your birthday.
Oh, no. Was that the live broadcast from my backyard?
Yes, that was outstanding.
Oh, man. Let's never speak of that again.
No, it was actually one of our best shows ever. I listened to it recently, and I was surprised at how coherent we all were.
So am I.
We're planning another one of those for this summer, though, and in this one we plan on not being coherent at all.
Okay.
So you'll have to take part in that.
It'll be like one of those legendary concert footages from some band that just can't even get through the first song and they just stumble off stage.
That's pretty much how we do the show every week. So
yeah, right.
It's really no different.
Makes sense.
And so tonight we just have you on for a few moments because we want to talk about this great event that you have coming up next Saturday night.
Yes.
And this is something that if anybody's been following Jeff on social media, and I hope that you all do, at the Jeff Belanger on Twitter, and he's on Facebook and everywhere, and anybody that's been following what you've been doing, we have been seeing that you're taking part in this Climb for the Cure.
Yeah, so I'm going up Mount Kilimanjaro. In fact, 2 months from today, I'll be returning home, hopefully with all kinds of photos and stories of glory. I leave March 17th. We're climbing Mount Kilimanjaro for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society to raise money to fight blood cancer. And I'm doing it to honor my brother-in-law, who's that's what makes it a little more personal for me. He passed away in December of 2015. From cancer, and I wanted to do something big, and this opportunity just came up. I've worked with Leukemia and Lymphoma Society before. As you know, Amy, who goes to a lot of our events, she's the one who roped me into it, and Kilimanjaro's been on my bucket list for so long, and it was just the time was right, and so I'm just psyched to be doing this. Been training, training my body, doing training hikes, getting a lot of gear, and getting ready to put myself through something pretty crazy.
And I've been following along with your training, and I got to say that, first of all, I mean, you're a pretty in shape guy to begin with. I mean, you're not like most folks in the paranormal. You're in pretty good shape. But this is a whole different animal to be able to go out and climb Mount Kilimanjaro alone. But even some of these training runs that you've been doing, it must be a completely different amount of fitness than you're used to.
Yeah, so I've been a runner for a while, which just kind of keeps me, able to see my own feet. And so the training, though, it's climbing, and so it's more about endurance, really. That's what you're up against. Is just trying to get up the mountain, trying to get step by step, managing your calories, the food you need, the water you need, and all that kind of stuff. And if you have been following on social media, you've seen I've been getting hurt.
Right.
I had a bruise. It's still there. It's been over 2 weeks. This bruise. First it looked like Sasquatch. and I put comparative photos up so people could look. And then, I mean, this bruise was just bigger than my whole hand, and then it started to look like Nosferatu. You know, I definitely saw like a devil face in the bruising. So, and just last week I got, you know, all kinds of shots. I got shots for tetanus. I got shots for hepatitis A. I got shots for typhoid. All kinds of things that I have to get just to go over to Tanzania. So I'm really putting myself through the ringer. But next week, we want to have a zombie prom. And this is going to be something really cool. I know you're going to be there. I think Stephanie said she's going to be there, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I've done this will be my fourth zombie prom if we're keeping score. And all the proceeds are going to go to Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So it's a big paranormal party. You don't have to dress up if you don't want to, but by all means, if you do want to, it's super fun. It's going to be in Bellingham at a place called Jalapenos, which, if you remember Odd Fests from years past, remember the old Patriots Cafe? That's the same place, except it's been really gussied up. New owners and new place, but they've really fancied it up, and it's just going to be a paranormal party, you know. And this is a slow time of year for all of us. It's winter. There's not a lot going on, and so it's an excuse to get together, to have a few drinks, and have a few laughs. And I swear we will win the internet that night with everybody dressed as zombies and photos going everywhere.
So if it was actually still Patriots, it could have really been a zombie prom because everybody in the bar side of it would have already been looking like zombies anyway.
They did. They already looked the part, but those folks have been removed. We got a DJ. We've got, you know, media sponsors and all this stuff, and it's just going to be a great time. And so, you know, here's the thing: if you want to dress like a zombie, just go to the thrift shop. If you spend more than $20, like, you did it wrong.
Right.
You know, you just get some old clothes, you rip them up. There's people there that'll do your makeup for you. So you don't, you know, if you want to just get the clothes and show up, that we'll have makeup stations where people will do your makeup, and we'll have picture poses, and we're going to have, you know, auction items for raffle to raise more money. And not only that, your ticket, it's only $20 if you buy it online. You buy it directly from the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. It's considered a tax-deductible donation. So you just save your receipt for your taxes this year. You're all helping a great cause. Dustin Perry's going to be there from Ghost Hunters. He's going to be, you know, doing this thing with me, and you know, you're going to be there, and Stephanie's going to be there. Who knows what other special guests may show up? And I think it's just going to be like just a really good time. And also, if you hate Valentine's Day, as so many of us do, this is like the most un-Valentine's Day thing you could possibly do in February.
Absolutely.
Go single, go with same-sex friends, bring a date, bring a spouse, whatever. Like, it's all good at the zombie prom.
And I have already promised, I promised last week on the show that any lady that doesn't have anybody to dance with, I will be more than happy to find somebody for you to dance with.
Oh, that's nice.
Because you don't want to dance with me. Although it's a zombie prom, so if you're dancing like a zombie, I can probably get away with some moves that way.
You know, it's so much fun. The last one I went to was in England. We did one over in England, and at the same time, there was this paranormal conference going on at this beautiful, like, manor house. You know, just gorgeous, like, you know, property and everything. And at the same time as our paranormal event, there was a wedding on the other side of the manor house. And around 11 o'clock, the bride and groom come over to the zombie prom.
Oh, wow.
And they got probably the most memorable wedding photos of, I'm guessing, any wedding in England for the last at least 2,000 years, even though photography doesn't even go back more than, you know, not even 200. So I'm just saying that they have the most memorable wedding photos in England. There you go. I said it. Well,
listen, I know I've seen your zombie photos. I've seen you at photos from the other zombie proms. I've seen your cards that you send out. So I know that you have a strong zombie game. I'm bringing in a ringer. I'm going to have John Brightman do my makeup because he's got some experience doing this kind of stuff.
Nice.
And plus, it would make me, like, no matter what you do, John, it's going to make me look better than I would anyway.
You can only get better that way.
I didn't turn on your microphone, John. I'm terrible like that.
You can only get better that way.
So again, let everybody know where they can get the tickets if they want to buy them in advance.
Yep, if you go to ghostvillage.com/zombieprom, that will actually jump you over to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, because it's one of those addresses that if I said, like, events.lls.org/tilde, you know, anyway, ghostvillage.com/zombieprom will bounce you over to Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. If you go to my website, or if you go to Ghost Village and look at the events, that will also get you there. You know, we're posting it all over social media. We've got an event page on Facebook and so on, and it's just going to be just a really great time and a great hangout. You know, we didn't do an Odd Fest last year, and I kind of thinking, you know, this is our Odd Fest.
Well, and absolutely, I want everybody out there that's listening, you know, share it. If you go to Jeff's Facebook page and his Twitter, he's got the banners and the photos. Get it out there. Let's blast it out to everybody all week, because it's for a great cause, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
And it's 21 and over. Sorry for the young ones out there, but it is a bar, mom and dad's night out if you've got kids. It's 25 at the door, so save yourself a few bucks and buy it online ahead of time, or 25 at the door is fine as well. And then we'll have raffles, and it's going to be, hey man, when all of us freaks get together and there's alcohol involved, and and like Mexican food and nachos, like I don't know how bad could it possibly be,
All right, should be a great time. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you Saturday night. Let's make sure that we can get as many people. Let's pack the place, fill it up, and raise a lot of money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Thank you very much, guys. I look forward to seeing you next week.
All right, stay weird.
All right, you too.
That is Jeff Belanger. You know him, you love him, and you can see him next Saturday night at the Zombie Prom. Again, as we said, I'll be there. I know Stephanie's going. I don't know if any of you guys are going. I'm assuming I need you to go, John.
Yes.
And Melody, you said you were going to try and make it? You got to talk. Let me teach you a little thing about radio.
Okay.
See this? It's called a microphone.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay. Hello. Can you hear me now?
That's all right. See, that's the thing about this is like you're here with us for the first time in studio. You've been doing the show for a couple weeks now, but is this your first ever radio appearance?
It is.
Like real radio?
It is.
All right, then I'll give you the little breakdown. Just the 2-finger rule. You just want to keep yourself 2 fingers away from the microphone at all times, or else otherwise they won't hear you. Don't be like John was last week when you're like, talking like this. Yeah. Like, and I'm trying to tell him, like, bring the microphone closer, and he thinks I'm trying to call him over for a hug.
Oh, okay.
So that's okay. We'll be good. I think we're going to be fine tonight as we talk about a bunch of different weird topics. Oh. But let's see if I haven't screwed this up yet. So let me just give everybody a little bit, break down the fourth wall a little bit of why the show is so screwed up. As I said to Matt, let's do something before the start of the show. Let's make something that, I thought about making last Saturday and totally forgot about until now. It's not like I'm not here every single day now, that I couldn't figure out how to do it myself. But so I call him in there. He works his magic. He gets it done. Does an amazing job. Boom, boom, boom. And then it comes time to try to put it into the computer. And then what does Tim do? He completely destroys everything. That theme song might be gone forever. I was thinking about it. If we overwrote it, it might be gone forever.
No.
That's okay. We have backup versions of it. But I want to just take this time really fast, Matt, to put out another plug for the fact that you are collecting music for people that want to have it featured on the show, and it can be
if anybody wants to donate some music, you can always send us the YouTube link or SoundCloud link, and then we play some music for people that are in the chat room before the show. We also do some bumper music here and there. Maybe if we can't find the theme song, maybe we need a new one. I don't know. Who knows? But you can just shoot it to spookycrew@spookysouthcoast.com or send it to us on Facebook or anything. And you know how to get to us.
And doing this, I mean, this is, it helps us out because it gives us unlicensed music that we can run and not run into any legal troubles and have videos taken down or, have any monetization. Not that we make any money off YouTube with the show, but, we want to be able to make sure we're putting money into the Spooky Crew funds and not into, MCA Universal Records or whatever is fun. So we learned our lesson about that a little bit.
Right. Podcasting can be a delicate art, so
it certainly is.
So you want to piss off as little people as possible.
So there's that benefit for us, but at the same time, we're also helping people out there to reach an audience.
Right. We have I don't know how many thousands of listeners we have, but they're all
18 million.
They're all very, very talented and supportive.
I just made that number up. John Brightman's like, whoa! No, I just made that number up. I threw that out.
They're all super talented and they're all super supportive. So we want to be super supportive to them as well.
So we will absolutely feature you if you want to send us some music, and we appreciate anybody that has. We do have a call coming in, so let's take that real fast before we go into the Week in Weird segment. Good evening. You're on Spooky Southcoast.
Hi, I'm just calling to listen to the show.
I'm sorry?
I'm just calling to listen in.
Oh, I can't keep you on the phone, though, to listen. I have to keep the lines clear. But if you use the smartphone app, that's a good way to listen in. Or you can watch us on YouTube.
Oh, okay. How do I watch you on YouTube?
Just go to... actually, if you just go to SpookySouthCoast.com... it'll take you right to the YouTube video, or if you go to YouTube and search Spooky South Coast, you'll find our live broadcast, and you can jump in the chat room with everybody there and interact in that way while the show's going on.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
And that, I suppose I probably should have thrown out the mentions at the beginning of the show, that we are broadcasting both on WBSM and also live on the Spooky South Coast app and on our Spooky South Coast YouTube channel. So that's I mean, Matt, I'd have to say the app is probably the way most people are getting to the show now. I'm hearing a lot of good things about it. Whether you have Android or Apple, you can download the app. You can watch the show. You can listen to the show. You can catch past episodes of the show. You can jump on our social media. So that's probably the best way. I'm also using my hands a lot tonight. I'm seeing myself on the video, and I'm I've become Italian here. So the app is probably the best way to join in. But you can always just go to your computer and type in SpookySouthCoast.com and find all kinds of ways to do it there as well. So I don't know why anybody has any excuse now not to be tuning into the show every Saturday night.
There's no excuse.
I mean, unless, you have a life and you do things on Saturday nights. But it's funny because if we had thought about this like 10 years ago, well, 11 years ago now, we just celebrated our anniversary last week. If we had thought about this 11 years ago when we started putting together the show, then maybe we would have said, if we want to talk to the paranormal community, maybe Saturday nights isn't the best night because that's when people are out actually doing research.
Yep.
But I like to think that, while they're out there getting ready, they've got Spooky South Coast on in the background. And
Oh, I always do.
either that or you can listen on podcast and YouTube later on. All right, so why don't we get weird here? And let me see if I can bring this up without screwing anything up. Oh, no, see, I already did the wrong thing there. Okay. You ready for this melody?
I am ready.
We made you this fantastic introduction.
Yay.
That only takes... it's just going to start off with a couple of seconds. And because I'm glad you're here in person for the first time, because it makes it so much easier to kind of direct you as to when to come in with the stories.
Gotcha.
So this is going to be a little bit of a work in progress, but at least then you'll have an idea for next time.
Exactly.
This we should have rehearsed this. It wasn't like you guys weren't already here early, but we just weren't ready. All right, so let's bring this up.
Spooky South Coast presents The Week in Weird with paranormal news correspondent Melody Knapp.
All right, everyone. So this week in Weird, January 28th, 2017. We're going to start out with a story that was published on the 26th on livescience.com, written by Jen Villegas. It was titled, Some Parts of the Body Stay Alive After Death, Evidence Suggests. Is there truly life after death? As a paranormal researcher, this is one of the main questions we strive to determine. And if there is life after death, is it a continuation of consciousness you have during life, or is it some other mysterious dimension our energy releases or moves on to? Although that answer is still yet to come, a recent paper published in the journal Open Biology suggests even after someone is declared dead, life continues in the body. Yes, you heard me right. Senior author Peter Nobel of the University of Washington and Alabama State University stated, "Not all cells are dead when an organism dies. Different cell types have different lifespans, generation times, and resilience to extreme stress." In the paper, he goes on to explain they discovered gene expression, when information stored in DNA is converted into instructions for making proteins or other molecules, actually increases in some cases after death. So the next time someone tries to argue there is absolutely 100% no life after death, you can turn around and throw some science in their face. Because even if we are still in the process of explaining the energy/spiritual side of the afterlife, it is now confirmed, at the very least scientifically, that sometimes life does go on after death on a molecular level.
Well, that brings to mind the story of, and if anybody's familiar with it, but the story of Mercy Brown, where there was still what they felt to be some signs of life when they opened up the holding crypt and pulled her out, because there was still some signs of life and some stuff did kind of go on. Moniz, you're the science guy here. Just kind of assuage my fears here a little bit here. Even when I'm dead, that still might work, right?
Actually, there's been a number of cases where morticians have been arrested for...
That's what I've heard.
So the answer is yes, it does happen.
That's what I've heard. I'd like to think... Did you just whack the mic?
I did. It was
you got to bring it... Everybody's saying they want you to bring it closer.
Me?
So.
Okay.
Basically, this microphone's your boyfriend for tonight.
It's like...
So just
it's
keep
coming,
it right close, right up there. Hey,
it's just
baby,
like my boyfriend's. It's running away from me.
What's up?
Do you see that?
There's actually adjustments you can make, if you need to. So, So as long as that still works, I'll be happy. Because God knows I don't use it that much when I'm alive. I'm just getting away with saying whatever I want right here because everybody's worrying about the mics.
Is that better? Is that better, everyone?
I think that is. That sounds much better.
Wonderful.
Okay, so is that... You have any other stories for us?
Oh, I definitely do.
All
and
right.
this one is kind of magical. It was published on January 6th of this year on mysterioussorg, and it was written by Jason Offutt. And this one is actually labeled The Butterfly People of Joplin, Missouri, which, if anyone knows, an EF5 tornado went through Joplin, Missouri back in 2011, May of 2011, and pretty much here it goes. 6 years ago, the town of Joplin, Missouri was devastated by an EF5 tornado that was a mile wide in width, killing 158 people and injuring 1,150 people of the 50,789 people that called Joplin their home. Through the rubble and tragedy emerged reports of something peculiar, witnessed by countless residents during the horrendous disaster. They all described these entities as butterfly people. Cousins Lage Grisby and Mason Lillard were in their grandparents' truck when the tornado hit. The 200-mile-per-hour winds picked the truck up and tossed it more than 300 feet across a parking lot. Grisby was thrown from the vehicle and Lillard was pinned inside, but both witnessed the same thing. Two butterfly people, one with blonde hair and the other brunette, both with magnificent butterfly wings. One of these figures laid their hand upon Lillard's shoulder, and she described it as an extremely calming sensation. Another report that was recounted in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch paper says a mother was running to shelter with her young daughter when the wind knocked them down. She witnessed the tornado lift a car and hurl it directly towards them. She cradled her daughter, trying to protect her from the impact that never occurred. When she looked up, her daughter said, "Didn't you see the butterfly people?" Her daughter went on to tell the mother she could see the butterfly entities carrying people through the sky. Stories of these butterfly people poured in. One 4-year-old boy claimed two butterfly people held his father's car as the tornado tried to take it away. Another child who was picked up by the wind and thrown 6 miles into a field told rescuers butterfly people caught him and sat him down safely on the ground. Children from all over the city reported seeing the same thing. People with wings, always described as butterflies, standing and flying over them in the storm, protecting them from the raining debris. The wind picked up and tossed a car with a man and his daughter, but she told him after she wasn't afraid because the butterfly people were sitting in the car next to them and kept them safe. So pretty much, this horrible disaster that happened in Joplin, Missouri that killed so many people also produced this strange phenomenon where children all over the city were witnessing not angels, they were seeing people with butterfly wings.
You know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of the Mothman story.
Right.
Because there you had, it was kind of a reverse where the Mothman was showing up first, and then you had this tragedy with the bridge. But I almost wonder if this is kind of like the same idea of where, after tragedy comes this glimpse into something else, this opening into something else. I don't know.
It's interesting, though, because only children witnessed it. All of the adults or parents that were there when it happened didn't see these butterfly people, but all the children did. And I mean, these children weren't interacting with each other, talking with each other. They were just, after this horrible tragedy, were like, oh, the butterfly people saved us. The butterfly people, laid me gently on the ground when I was thrown 6 miles but through a tornado. So that's pretty weird to me.
Matt, was there a butterfly person on the Tick? Well, I know Arthur was a moth, but wasn't there a butterfly character? I want to say there was some superhero team that there was a butterfly character. I don't know what I don't know what I was thinking of. I don't know, but it was, it's not the most badass thing you would think of, but I don't know.
Oh, the Monarch from Venture Brothers?
I don't know. I've never seen Venture Brothers.
You also have the same report of basically what she's describing by astronauts or cosmonauts on the Mir space station.
I've seen butterfly people?
Yeah, that's outside the window. They describe them as humans with butterfly wings. Yeah.
Interesting. I did not know that.
So
I've never heard that either.
Maybe it's the same. Maybe it's the same creature. You know what I mean?
That's pretty crazy. I've never heard that before.
And we all know how many problems the Mir space station has.
This is true.
All right. Well, is that done for the Week in Weird for this week?
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of like, I was going to do another article, but I kind of got caught up on these butterfly people. I want to know more.
Well, I mean, and what was the name of the writer again that you mentioned?
It was Jason Ofut.
Oh, yeah. So I know, he's been writing on the paranormal for a long time, so maybe we can have him on the show and he can talk a little bit more about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that I think that we need to do, at least in this year 11 of Spooky Southcoast, is, let's not turn our backs on the weird stuff. Let's not turn our backs on the fact that there's some of these stories out there that as researchers, as investigators, we might say to ourselves, oh, that seems a little bit ridiculous. That seems a little bit fantastic. But why not go down those rabbit holes? Why not go into that? Because we can.
It was not too long ago that what we do now, people 10 years, 12 years ago, maybe even just a little longer, were looking at us going, that's ridiculous and crazy.
That's true.
So true.
I mean, if you go back and you listen to old episodes of the show, which I don't know if I can recommend it, but some people want to. I'm somebody that when I watch a TV show, I want to see every single episode start from the beginning. So some people do the same thing with this show, and that's a lot of people will come back to me and say, in the older days of the show, you guys were a lot more open to weird topics, and you would kind of talk about anything. And I feel like we've kind of pigeonholed things a little bit in later years. And Chris and I always have this discussion about how, we need to kind of take off our own blinders and be willing to take on any weird topic. Sometimes that leads to some of the best shows.
Hey, what do I always say, Tim? Embrace the weird.
Well,
embrace your weird.
I'm going to have to start embracing other people's weird.
Right. We got to embrace all the
really
weird
stories.
All
but then,
weird.
I think with Donald Trump as president, you can just walk right up to people and grab their weird now.
Oh,
right?
my God.
Is that all right?
Be careful whose weird you grab.
I'm pretty sure it's all good now, though.
Oh,
well, we're going to be talking about a bunch of different paranormal topics tonight, and you can join in the discussion by calling 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420 for people that still care about whether or not they're paying for a phone call. Do people still do that? Yes. Does anybody still have a phone plan where long distance makes a difference? I don't know.
I don't know.
I see it occasionally. I work in the cell phone industry.
Maybe a home phone, but.
Well, listen, working in the newsroom now, I have to call people on the phone to set up interviews and to interview people over the phone. And I have no idea how to dial numbers anymore. I'm like, I don't know if when I pick this up, do I have to hit one? So sometimes I hit one, sometimes I don't. And I usually remember enough to dial the area code because I don't even dial numbers anymore. I just find people in my phone and call them.
Yep.
But what was really weird was when and I still do it, but I pick up the phone and I dial 9, and I don't have to dial 9 for an outside number. But I'm not used to picking up a handset without having to press 9 because the only place I ever use a phone is at work. I don't use one here. I don't use one at home, so I don't know.
Do most people even have home phones now?
I don't. I got rid of mine.
I don't either.
You'd be surprised.
What's funny about it too is I have home phone service. Like it's part of my package,
but
I don't utilize it.
No.
I don't even have a phone to connect to it. So I'm just sitting there watching TV and a call will come in over the phone or over the TV. And my son will look at it and be like, Dad, you're getting a phone call. I'm like, well, it's obviously not important because I've never given that number to anybody. But there is a new scam going around that I've noticed. And I don't know if you guys have gotten this call, but the call comes in and it tells you that somebody is coming to your house within 48 hours with a uniformed civil servant, and you have to have all your guns locked up, and you have to have all of your animals, large animals, locked up, and everybody who's in the house all has to have a photo ID present to show who they are, because when they come into your house, you have to tell them who you are, and they don't say like what it's for. They don't say if it's to collect a debt. They don't say if it's for anything. They don't even really. They give you some like BS name of who they are and where they're from, and I know a bunch of people that have been getting this call. And so I just want to tell them, like, well, hold on, I've moved, and just give them Moniz's address.
Come and see me.
Right. Just let them try and come down and see what happens when they go down there. But that's the thing, is like, people are gullible. People will fall for things. Mm-hmm. And we see it not just in real life, like in the reality of, people calling your house or trying to collect a bill or what have you. But we see that in the paranormal all the time too. People will believe anything.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the, and I want to kind of get your perspective on this, Melody, because we're a bunch of grizzled old bastards who've been doing this for a long time. You're relatively new to it, mm-hmm. and you're relatively new to putting yourself out there as the leader of a team. Mm-hmm. And can I lump you into the millennial generation?
I guess.
Will you not get upset if I do that?
I won't be upset.
We don't have the millennial mentality either. We think all you kids are a bunch of dummies. Not you, but you know how it is. You know how it is with our generation, and even a couple of generations ahead in the case of Moniz. It was always his dream to be on radio ever since he used to sit in front of it and listen to Little Orphan Annie. But just looking at the way that things are from that lens, from that perspective, I almost feel like the younger people that are in this field are more open to different things than some of us are. And part of that is the fact that, we've been through the ringer quite a bit, and we've had to deal with people. So, like, when somebody tells me that they have something going on, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to pass it off to somebody else anyway, because I'm just not out there doing investigations. But a lot of times I'm kind of like, whatever, this isn't anything. And I suppose you have to kind of have that mentality if you're going to be giving up your free time to go out and research this stuff. But also, I think I'm just being too dismissive of people and their experiences because I've become kind of set in my ways. I'm a crotchety old bastard now when it comes to the paranormal. Are you getting a lot of, being a younger person, and are you getting a lot of reports of things that seem overly fantastic? Or are you getting reports of people who are just kind of like, I'm having this go on and I need some help? Because I think that will always be the undercurrent of what we're researching. People who just don't understand what's going on and want some help. But the really weird stuff that I used to get 10 years ago, I'm not hearing anymore. I'm not hearing people talking about seeing things like butterfly people, or I haven't heard a black-eyed kid story in a long time. I haven't heard even puckwudgie sightings. People will tell me about sightings that they had in the past that they think were puckwudgies, but it's not anything that's kind of current. Are you getting all kinds of weird stuff, or are you just getting like, I think there's a ghost in my house?
Well, first off, I get contacted by a lot of very strange people, so I kind of have to sift through it.
Okay, well, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. I'm not talking about John, even though he's as tall as an elephant. The elephant in the room, you're a young girl, and you're putting yourself out there as the leader of this team, and that might draw some weirdos.
Unfortunately, yeah.
We all have to deal with weirdos in our own way, but you probably get some different weirdos than we get. So let's just put that out there, that you probably do get some of that.
Yes. Mainly when people approach me with things that are going on that they want me to investigate, a lot of it's like, oh, I have something going on in my house, but no one really believes me that it's happening. But I have had some strange things. Like, I had someone in upstate New York contact me that they believe this whole town is infested with demonic entities that are causing people to become alcoholics and, abusive and all these things. And they want me to kind of come up there and figure out what's going on. I don't know. I mean, I think it's one of those things where you really have to kind of trust your gut when people are telling you what's going on. I'm just extremely open and I'm curious about everything. So, I give people the benefit of the doubt, and I'm willing to kind of research anything that comes my way as long as there's reason behind it.
See, I think that's first of all, it's the way that you should be, but I think that we find that over time, and you'll find this over time too, as you connect and network more with people, you kind of have certain people that you pass things off to. So, like, if I get a Pukwudgie report, I always say, well, talk to Chris Balzano because he's the Pukwudgie guy, and he's going to be able to tell you better than I can if that might be what you encountered. Moniz, whenever I have anybody that encounters anything that's a UFO, I always say, well, here you go, Moniz, take this and run with it. And I got to ask you if you heard the story about there was a MUFON report this past week or recent, that was in Dartmouth.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything about that at all?
Yeah, I was actually talking to a few of my friends from MUFON about that. That's kind of also one of the things I've been doing lately is doing a lot of little local UFO stuff. People coming up and contacting me about that. I got a report on Reed Road as recently as last week about an amber light traveling along the road just above treetop level. This was just after sundown. And there's been tons and tons of reports that have come out of Dartmouth over the years. You know my mentor, Maurice, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he actually saw a craft in 1969 take off out of the water right in front of Round Hill, Hetty Green's place.
So I'm just taking a quick look at the National UFO Reporting Center site, and this sighting that's being referred to, it happened on December 29th. This one, the one that's reported, not
Okay.
I'm not talking about the one that you got.
Is this the one over Paid-Narum?
I'm trying to see if it says. It just says off Route 6 in Dartmouth.
Okay.
So here's what happened. It was reported as taking place at about 8 o'clock at night, because I'm looking at the occurred.
Yeah.
The occurred time is December 29th, 20 hours. So that's 8 o'clock, and then it was reported on the 31st. All right. Well, see, here's where the skeptic in me is kind of like, wait a minute. So this happened on December 29th.
Didn't get reported till like the 31st. It took a day for the person to report.
December 31st at 5:48 in the morning. So you look at that and you say, okay, this took a little while for them to say something, right? Because that's a whole day later.
Yeah, but
Is it possible that this person didn't know where to go with the report?
Yeah.
That they were telling friends, and
Right.
friends were like, there's a National UFO Reporting Center.
well, what usually winds up happening is 24 hours is actually pretty soon after an event. A lot of times, for most people, they're not used to seeing these things, and for a day to up to a week, they're still trying to mentally process what they've seen because they've been told. Same thing when we get reports of, ghost stuff. People wait a while before they try and talk to somebody because they're still trying to rationalize it in their mind, and then they finally got to say, like, I got to talk to somebody else. And then after they make that decision, okay, how do I find who to talk to? So finding, MUFON's number or the National Reporting Center or any of the other centers and stuff like that, it takes some time. So it being, less than 24 hours or within 24 hours is actually pretty soon.
Well, the report was, and we only have about 4 minutes before the news, but this person says they were picking up some takeout food off Route 6 in Dartmouth. Her husband called her attention to this object that had traveled over their heads. The object was large with 5 glowing white lights shaped like a jack's, sort of 5-pointed. So I'm assuming they mean like jacks, like, toy jacks. We pulled up to get a bit of a better look, turned around, and it was gone. So that was the sighting that was reported. And 5 lights in kind of like a jack shape. Is that any known aircraft that we know of?
The only thing that somebody could potentially say that's shaped like a flying jack is a lot of these drones.
That would be what I would think
Yeah.
right away. And, obviously the drones that you and I are buying don't have bright enough lights that we would see them from the ground.
Well, ones we can afford. There are others that are shaped like that are far more expensive.
And military drones.
Yes.
Certainly. And are military drones, do they have lights?
Yes. Anything that
I would
flies
assume it
is
would have to.
required to have lights by the FAA.
Whether or not they keep them on when they're up there.
Right.
is a
The
different
military has rules that they can bend as far as, turning their lights off and things like that. But anything that flies is required to have navigation lights.
Well, I certainly want to get back into this, though, when we come back on the other side, because I think that part of what's lost on this, and I kind of wish, because Fun 107 put the story up, Abby put the story up and got it up there on the website, but I kind of wish they had been like, hey, Tim, there's a UFO story here, because I could have given them so much more background, because we know about all the different UFO activity that's been reported over Dartmouth over the years. So in case anybody out there that might have saw this is listening in. We will give you a little bit more insight into the history of UFOs in Dartmouth, and we'll talk some more about some other paranormal topics as well coming up in the next hour. And you can join in the fun again if you want to call in, 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. You can also join the chat room on SpookySouthCoast.com and on our YouTube channel, and also on our app, the Spooky South Coast app for iPhone and Android. And you can also email us, spookycrew@SpookySouthCoast.com, and you can follow us on Twitter @SpookySC. And then during the show, when the show is live, we talk about things using the hashtag SpookyLive. So if there's anything out there that you want to say on Twitter, you can always just hashtag it SpookyLive. We'll see it pop up in the feed. We can talk about it that way. We try and make sure that we grab questions that show up in the chat room, but sometimes the discussion goes off the rails a little bit there, and that's fine. That's what we love about it. We love everybody that joins us in the chat room on Saturday night. So hi to everybody that's in there. I'm waving at the computer like the computer can see me. like Dr. Turry with my shirt off on Skype over here. So we'll get into some more weird stuff coming up in just a bit. But again, 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. We're not going to be on next Saturday night for the zombie prom, but we're going to have something pre-recorded. I promise. I have no excuses now not to put something into the computer for us to have pre-recorded. So we will have something, even if it's just a rebroadcast of an old episode. But there'll be something on the air here next Saturday night. And then we'll be back every week live.
I recommend Jeff's birthday party.
I don't know if that can be aired.
Yeah.
I think we played it pretty straight on that one. We might not have sworn, but I can't be totally sure.
No, we did.
The first Backyard podcast, forget it. That could never be aired on the radio. Maybe we could put it up on YouTube if because we still have photos from that night. We could.
New Bedford's News Talk Station. New Bedford's News Talk Station. 1420 WBSM. New Bedford, streaming worldwide on Radio Pop and on WBSM.com.